So April 2nd is going to be a big day. We're going to roll out the reciprocal tariffs.
Huge week for Bitcoin, huge week for financial markets, as April 2nd, global reciprocal tariffs go into effect, meaning every single country on Earth that's a trading partner with the United States gets a tax if they currently tax us.
The tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us, meaning they will be kinder than those countries were to the United States of America over the decades. They ripped us off like no country's ever been ripped off in history. And we're going to be much nicer than they were to us, but it's substantial money for the country, nevertheless.
Let's talk how this will affect Bitcoin, the latest news for Cardano, Dogecoin news, lower cap altcoin updates. Watch today's whole video. But starting with the breaking news, Trump family enters Bitcoin mining with a new venture, American Bitcoin, meaning Eric and Don Jr. have partnered with Hut 8 to launch a major US-based Bitcoin mining company. The Trumps are going full throttle, making sure the United States are a leader in Bitcoin mining. I loved this explanation from Anthony Pompliano.
The Trump family just announced they're jumping in the Bitcoin mining game. Eric Trump and Don Jr., they previously started a company around American data centers. That company announced a transaction this morning with Hut 8, one of the publicly traded Bitcoin miners, that they're going to merge together the mining operations from Hut 8 and the data center operations of American data centers. The combined entity will operate as a subsidiary of Hut 8, and Hut 8 shareholders are going to own 80% of the business. Eric Trump, the son of the president, he's going to serve as the chief strategy officer. And now remember, Eric Trump, he really believes in Bitcoin. He previously said on stage at a conference that the digital currency was going to $1 million per coin. So if you think Bitcoin's going that high, then you want to mine as much of it as you possibly can get.
So American Bitcoin will control 61,000 mining machines with Eric Trump as chief strategy officer and plans to build a Bitcoin reserve. That's a company, a corporate Bitcoin reserve with their mining company. Hut 8 will own 80% of American Bitcoin, supplying the mining hardware and hosting operations at its 11 US data centers to ensure low-cost, large-scale Bitcoin production. And what this means for the future of Bitcoin and crypto in America. The venture deepens the Trump's crypto footprint alongside projects like World Liberty Financial, their DeFi project, meme coins, and a planned stablecoin. This shows you that the Trump family has vested interests for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to thrive in America long term. We also know it's not just America that's thinking this way. The Bitcoin hash rate right now is going parabolic. Price eventually follows hash. This chart just shows how many people globally are mining Bitcoin to push the hash rate this high. And for perspective, when Bitcoin hit 69,000 back in 2021, all-time high at the time, the hash rate was huge. It was hitting an all-time high back then too. Now the price of Bitcoin is around $80,000 and the hash rate is exploding, meaning fundamentals, the strength of the underlying network clearly improving, yet price is undervalued. And this comes as Elon Musk speaks about Dogecoin, the coin, for the very first time in a long time, clarifying his relationship with the coin when it comes to the Department of Government Efficiency.
The names are similar, but they're doing two very different things. In fact, I was going to call it like the Government Efficiency Commission, but that's a super boring name. And then the internet said, no, it needs to be called the Department of Government Efficiency. I was like, well, the internet is right. So we changed the name from Government Efficiency Commission to Department of Government Efficiency. But there are no plans for the government to use Dogecoin or anything, as far as I know. So that they happen to be similar names, but really we're just literally trying to make the government 15% more efficient.
Founder of Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, speaking about their next major scalability upgrade. Leos will bring Solana-style speed with full decentralization. This is their next major scalability upgrade.
They have $1.5 billion on chain to basically make strategic investments for as long as necessary. And we have all the technology coming online to support it, like Midgard is our layer 2 optimistic rollup system. And then we have Leos, which is going to give us kind of Solana-style speed, but full decentralization and no stalls. And then we have all the zero knowledge technology that's coming in too. We're kind of state of the art on the zero knowledge side.
And what is Laos? Laos is part of Cardano's multi-pronged scaling strategy designed to increase the base layer's throughput through parallelization of validation and execution processes, efficient handling of transaction inputs, and a more flexible mempool design. In a direct quote from Charles Hoskinson, he says, "It's not just about throughput. It's about throughput under constraint. You can have all the TPS, transactions per second, in the world, but if it only works when a few people are running everything on Amazon Web Services, that's not decentralization. We wanted to do it right." So fundamentals are only getting better. That's great for crypto long term. Of course, short term, all investors are worried that tariffs are going to cause a huge slowing of growth in the short term, are going to crash markets.
April 2nd, investors have three things on their minds. One is they just don't know what the tariffs look like. They don't know if it's going to damage the economy. And I think third, many are just a little terrified of the policies of the White House. But post Wednesday, I think markets are going to have some visibility, and that allows us to take some of the selling pressure off. So, yes, I think it's possible that instead of us breaking down here and seeing markets under further pressure, we're actually got the right pieces
buy,
for
though,
bottom.
into this without knowing what's on the other side of it? That is the fundamental question that people are sitting around trying to figure out today and tomorrow.
That's right. It's an interminable wait for people because it is still 3 days, and they're fearful that we could have 3 days of down 2%. But I kind of agree with Larry Fink. I think the U.S. is going to come out of this okay. I mean, Brexit's an example. Brexit happened, and the U.K. economy emerged okay. It didn't have a huge recession, and the stock market did okay.
Now, Tom Lee is on record that once we clear tariffs, once we get through tariffs, markets can look forward to things being positive. Tom Lee calls for $150,000 Bitcoin or higher by end of year. Let's talk about it. But I was reading the comments to our video from a few days ago. Yes, I read the comments. And somebody was saying, why are tariffs bad for Bitcoin? And really, tariffs, which are just a tax on global trading, taxes limit transactions. And if we have limited transactions globally now, as manufacturing in the U.S. moves back to the U.S., as countries sort of stick to themselves instead of having to pay the tariffs, that slows transactions in the short term. It slows growth in the short term. And slowing growth, slowing economies are bad for risk assets. Now, Bitcoin may be okay because Bitcoin sort of in two buckets. It's a digital gold. It's a hedge asset. Maybe price will increase as maybe a narrative becomes Bitcoin price going up because more countries maybe will start using Bitcoin since maybe they don't want to use the US dollar. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud here. Slowing of economy, slowing of trade is bad for risk assets like altcoins. It's the general prognosis. Bitcoin dominance is outrageously high right now, around 60%, while ETH dominance is pretty close to an all-time low. ETH at just 7.95% dominance. That's so low. Also very possible, maybe this will be a buy the rumor, sell the news, and altcoin dominance will start going up because the market has already sort of expected this, priced this in, and it'll be sort of the counter trade. I have no clue what price will do tomorrow, and neither do you, but what I can provide you with is perspective. News updates give you an edge investing in crypto so you have all the information so you can make the best decision for you. And here's why Tom Lee believes that after tariffs, by end of year, Bitcoin price is still going higher.
To be stacking?
I think so.
You do, at 80.
Yeah, I think, part of this was Bitcoin seasonally was just not going to be attractive until after March ends, and now we're finally exiting March. And so I think not only is the calendar looking better, but as you're saying, Fed and central banks are easing, QT's ending. I think that with positive Washington sort of tailwinds means I think Bitcoin can do well to the end of the year.
Right. People love it when I ask you what your year-end target is on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
and makes people very excited.
Yes, and I mean,
what crazy high again?
I think it's still 150 or higher as possible. Okay. I know it doesn't feel like it, but once we get through this tariff and that agenda around tariffs, markets can look forward to things that could be positive.
That is the video. My name's Austin. Like always, see you tomorrow.